Arturo Johnson here, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the 15 rules of money. So if you stay to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you 15 tools that you can use to go from 0 to 100K per month. Let's get into it. So the number one rule to money is that money doesn't change people, it just really shows you who you are. And this is important because people have a negative mindset around money. And I think that it's been programmed to us, even from some of the movies and the shows that we watch, that it's always like the good being poor and the evil being rich. But I submit to you that money is simply a tool. It has nothing to do with whether somebody is good or evil. It's just a tool, and what it does is it just amplifies the person that you are. So if somebody's a jerk already and they're poor, when they get money, they're just going to be a rich jerk. And so today I want to share with you some ideas on that, because it just tends to amplify someone's nature, right? And it just really reveals their character. And money is just a tool. It's something that it's like insurance. It's better to have it and not need it than to not have it and then need it. And trust me, I've been in situations like that all too far often in my life. You know, needing to pay my rent, about to get evicted, or getting my car repossessed, and like all of these things. And what happens is all of that is just stress. You're worried about an outcome and you don't have any resources to overcome it. And so you stay up all night worrying about it, and then the inevitable happens, and then the worst of it happens, and now you feel guilty and terrible, and you just got to figure things out. So money is a tool, and you rather have it and not need it than the opposite. And it's just important to remember also that money doesn't inherently changes someone, but instead it really just like highlights their existing character traits. And this is important because what you can do is you can use money as a resource to enhance things. You can enhance your appearance, you can enhance your locations of where you live by changing your environment. You can enhance the places that you go so you can expand your mind. You can enhance the experiences that you have in business, because you can learn something and start a business. But if you believe that it's bad, it's impossible to go against your beliefs and be successful. And so number two is never spend money before you earn it. And I think this one is probably what most people in America deal with. And it's because we live check to check, day to day, month to month. And so by the time you get your money, it's already gone. And the biggest devastation to this is weekends and, more importantly, holidays. That is where the biggest spending happens. On the weekends, after people get their check and get paid, that's what they do. They go and spend it. And next week, they only got enough for gas and lunch. During the holiday time, now Black Friday used to be just one day. Now it's a whole week. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Tech Tuesday, whatever it is, because they know if you have time off the consumer, they can be shown marketing to give them the idea that they thought that they needed something, and then you'll go and spend all your money. And so spending money before you have it can lead to debt and financial trouble 100%. And when you're not focused and you don't understand that a lot of times the things that you think you want weren't even your own ideas, that they were marketing to you, and it's like it was inception, it was injected into your mindset from advertising. The average person sees about 4,000 advertisements per day, and that plays a huge role into your subconscious because you don't really understand what's happening. And so when you start spending money before you have it on these things that you thought you wanted, this is how you can become in financial debt. The TV, the car, the watch. And this isn't just for poor people. For people that are wealthy and rich like myself, is like you think you need to keep up. You saw a chain, you saw a watch, you saw a Lamborghini, all of these things, you think you need those things to increase your status. And so spending money before you earn it is one of the biggest things to keep us in debt, which is why banks extend credit to people. And I think that it's just crucial just to maintain a responsible approach to spending money by only using the money that you already have earned, right? This is very, very important. Only spend the money that you already earned. I can remember when I first got a credit card, and I was in college. I think they gave us like you could apply to get a cell phone, because I didn't have a cell phone when I was in college. And if you couldn't get the cell phone, they would give you this credit thing that you can do. It was like a secured credit card. Well, that thing had like $200 on it, and man, it wasn't to the end of the day. I had already gone to Walmart and spent all of it, and I didn't have a job. And so that was one thing that obviously I had to pay that off. But spending money that you don't have or spending money before you've earned it is definitely something that will put you in financial ruin. So number 3, don't chase money, instead be a magnet for money, right? And so what you want to do is you want to focus on creating value and providing solutions that can naturally attract money. And I wish somebody would have told me this one years ago, right? Be somebody that is worthy of attracting money, right? Which is just increase your value. So a couple ways that you can increase your value. One, share the skills that you already have, learn new skills, and then you can sell your knowledge on how you can teach other people how to get those same skills. And so when you do this and you become a more valuable person, people will pay you for it. And you don't need to do anything outward. You can use your own creativity to have success and create things. We are creators. God created us to create, and he made us to make stuff. And so we are made after the ultimate creator. It's your unique superpower. So if you can tap into your creativity, you can create endless things that will ultimately pay you forever. And the other thing you want to do is, rather than obsessing over money, work on your skills, work on your mindset that will draw in people that attract money. And this is what I did in 2015, I believe. I was life insurance agent during the day. I was waiting tables at night. And when I got home between maybe like 11 and 3, all I did was study, learn. Where I was on the floor reading books, studying, watching YouTube. I was just really trying to I was in search of the answer. And it took me about 6 months to a year. But once I found it and figured it out, it's when I made my first $1 million. And so you want to obsess over increasing your value and your skills, because if the more value that you have, right, then that allows you to create assets, and income follows assets. So if you want to increase your cash flow and increase your earnings, you need to increase your value, which then will allow you to create assets, and income follows asset. Just think about the richest people in the world, right? The richest people in the world either own the most assets or they have created the best ones. And so income follows assets, increase your value, and increase your assets. Number 4, you want to invest time before you invest money. A lot of times what we do is we see a shiny object or something that we think can make us a return, and we go without knowing too much about it, and we invest in it, crypto, real estate investing, like all of these things. But if we just took that time and reinvested into ourselves and believe that once we have some knowledge, like we can 10x any investment that we can get, and it's infinite, right? From your creativity, if you learn something, you can create infinite amounts of money. But we're taught that we need to go to work, get a job, right? Get on a paycheck to get a consistent income. And then we need to hire somebody that's really smart about finances, and then let them save some of our money. So in 40 years, we can live off 40% of our income. And that's an impossible mathematical equation that will never happen. Because if you can barely live off of the income that you have working, there's no way that when you're not working, you can live off 40% of it. It's impossible. So the more that you spend time learning, then it will give you the skills to be able to invest, right? Because what you need to do is you need to see the value of the opportunity. And a lot of times people just get it taken advantage of because they hear about some get rich quick scheme. Doing research and acquiring knowledge is going to be the key to success in investing and making money, because you're always going to be learning things. And even for myself, as you start to climb up the ladder of success, you really have to stay informed, because now that you have money, there's so many things that you can do, so many things that you can invest in, but you have to stay focused and do your research so that you don't lose all your money. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. So take time learning about opportunities and risk before you commit your hard-earned money to it. And I can remember a couple times that I've tried to do this. I wanted to open a convenience store. I wanted to become a fireman. I wanted to do real estate investing. I wanted to be a crypto advisor. And like all of these things I invested in first because I thought it would make me more money, but I didn't have the knowledge. And guess what? Ultimately, I did lose money in that. So always, always, always take time to learn about it before you commit your cash. Number 5, the more you learn, soon enough you can drop the L and then you can start to earn. And this is important because continuous education can lead to you seeing better opportunities in the future so that you can 10x your money. And I can remember so many times, like I said before, that I invested in things that ended up losing my shirt. But it wasn't until I spent 3-6 months researching something and I was like, you know what, I could probably in 6 months, if I invested in this, probably get a 10% return, right? Or I can spend 6 months learning how to start a business and I can make 10K per month, and then I can turn that into 100K per month, then I can turn that into $1 million per month, and I would never have to worry about money again. And now I have my own asset that I know about 100%, that's my money printer, and now I can get rich. And so you want to continuously learn and improve your skills. And I know you see a theme here, self-education. This is going to be very, very important because what happens is it allows you to see opportunities that you didn't maybe see before. They were already around you. So the more you educate yourself, you start to evaluate and analyze the resources that you already have. And I'll tell you something, everything that you need is already around you. You just don't see it as an opportunity. You have to see it through that lens. So in saying that, you need to invest in your education and your personal development so that you can start to see some of these opportunities. If there's the one thing that I can contribute to my success from going from zero, being broke, negative $90 in my bank account, to having over 5 million in sales in the last 3.5 years, is personal development. Starts with Jim Rohn, Eric Thomas, Sam Ovens. Changing my mindset, changed the way I see myself, my self-image, and my opportunities in the future to have a positive self-image. Once I did that, I started to get excited about the future. I started to get excited about the new opportunities and new things that I could achieve. And then I started to learn those skills that were acquired, and it motivated me to be excited about the day and so on. That was a perpetual thing that snowballed. And so you definitely want to maximize your personal development. Very, very, very important. Number 6 is never be a slave to money, but become its master. And this is something that's hard to teach because if you come from an environment like I did, poverty is one of those things that you're used to. So you're just used to not having things. So when you finally do get money, what happens is you ultimately end up spending it right away. And I had to learn this from my wife because she comes from a well-off family, that I noticed that no matter how much money she had in the bank, it didn't bother her. She just let it sit. And I really had to observe that. And it took me a couple of years because I like get some money and I'll spend it, make some money and then I'll spend it. And I was on this vicious cycle where I was making 10K a month, but I was still on this vicious check to check cycle. And what I had to do was I just had to let my money sit. And once it was sitting there, I realized that what was happening. My mind was like, oh, I can go and buy this. Oh, I can go and buy that. And I would let it sit for a minimum of 30 days. And that's how I was able to master that. And so you want to become a master of your money and not a slave to it, because if you're always trying to figure out how to spend it, you're never going to keep any, which ultimately, if something were to happen, then you're going to be in financial ruin if that happens. So it's essential to build up the habit of controlling your money and saving money. Most people only talk about how much money you can invest, how much money you can spend and put in an opportunity, and very few people talk about building a war chest and saving money. $1 saved is $1 earned, right? Most Americans don't have 3 to 6 months. They only have maybe about 2,000 to 4,000 in their savings account. And so what you want to do is you want to build up a war chest, right? As you're growing, as you're developing, as you're increasing your net worth or your business, sales, you want to make sure that you have a war chest just in case something happens. Very, very important. This is probably one of the most valuable pieces of advice that I never heard of from Sam Evans. And then you want to just develop financial literacy and have good habits that can help you to build your war chest and just to keep money so that you're in a great financial situation. And financial literacy is very important. The mindset around finances is very important. Just because you get rich doesn't mean you need to spend it all. And the reason why I'm hammering this one home, because this one was really difficult for me. You know, there was a lot of things that I didn't have growing up that I wanted. Not that I didn't have anything, because my mother did a great job, but there were just other things that I wanted. And so as I got to become an adult and started making money, I started going to buy all those things. But you know, there's a time and a place for everything. And so you need to be in a season of growth, right? In a season of harvest, right? And then you need to be in a time of seed, right? And so sometimes it's seed time and sometimes it's harvest time. So you want to make sure that in the harvest time that you're still planting seeds and putting things away, because there's always 4 seasons. There's always going to be a winter and there's always going to be a spring. Number 7, you have to seduce money. Don't let money seduce you, because money will make you do things that you don't want to do sometimes and compromise your morals if you don't have it. And what you have to do is you have to cultivate an attractive mindset and a lifestyle that just draws wealth to you, right? Getting around the right people, getting in the right circles, getting in the right rooms, getting in the right courses, getting the right education, just being around other people that are successful. If you want to know how to be successful, just get around other successful people. If you're around 5 people that are successful, you'll soon to become the 6th, right? And so you want to cultivate an environment and a mindset that will be conducive to having a successful lifestyle. And you want to do this by being around the right people. You want to be very cautious and not lured into distractions, right, of wealth and focusing on, you know, just this long-term goal of just like getting rich. You want to make sure that you cultivate and build lasting value. So as you're trying to get to the top, you want to make sure that you have a solid foundation, and you want to make sure that you have built the stairs to success, just in case if you have to come back down a little bit, you know, you can come back, right? And so, but also just so other people can, you can blaze a trail and a path for other people to walk up those same steps. So you always want to focus, have the goal in mind, detach from the goal, and then you want to focus on falling in love with the process of getting successful, because that in itself is a tool and a skill set and an asset that you can use. Number 8, money doesn't grow on trees unless you plant the right seed. And so what you want to do is you want to understand that building wealth requires smart planning, investing, and nurturing of your resources. And so a lot of times what happens is we don't understand that, you know, this is, again, just you go back to the analogy of farming, is that you want to make sure that you plant enough seeds so you can reap enough harvest. And this takes time, right? You have to be smart, you have to invest, and then you have to nurture and cultivate those seeds to turn into a harvest, right? And so, you know, sustainable wealth is the thing that we need to look at. And for myself specifically, I only saw 3 types of people that were rich. There were drug dealers, basketball players, and then entertainers. And these people would get rich really quick off their God-given ability or their talent, or their innate ability to be an entrepreneur just selling the wrong product. And what happens is they would get rich really quick, spend all their money, end up dead or in jail, or they end up broke, out of the league, or even in the music industry, right? They would be a one-hit wonder. And so what you want to do is you want to think about generational wealth, and along that time, you want to plant seeds so that you will never, ever be broke again. That's why having a war chest is good. It's why learning and understanding things about investing. And there's a book by Warren Buffett called The Intelligent Investor. And it talks about him and his mentor. That was one of the most impactful books that I've ever read in my life. And so, you know, you want to make sure that you're planting seeds to cultivate, so that once you do start to get successful, you plant enough seeds that you never, ever have to worry about going back into that current situation again. And the next thing is you want to be patient to let them grow, right? Plant the seeds, continue to work on yourself, continue to invest wisely, continue to do your research, and then continue to focus on cultivating, growing those things, right? Taking your money, taking out the principal and then taking the interest that you do make, the profit that you do make, and reinvesting those for exponential growth. And then number 9, don't let your money get bored. What you want to do is you want to keep your money working. You want to let your money make money for you. So the first thing you have to do to be wealthy and successful, number 1 is you got to get rich, right? You got to get money. You got to learn how to get money. Then from there, in order to become wealthy, you have to start making your money make money for you so that you make money without independently of any actions that you take. And so once you can start to do that, that's how you can become successful. And so when you don't let your money get bored, because money loves speed, right? If you just were to just go into like a grocery store or Target or something like that, and if you just stood there for like 3 minutes and looked at the register and looked at the door, what you notice is that money loves speed. Money is coming in and money is going out, right? Money is being transferred. If you had $100, right? As soon as you broke that 100, by the end of the day or so, that money would probably be gone, because money loves speed. Money changes hands so quickly. And so what you want to do is you want to get money from your hand to somewhere where it can start growing and producing for you as fast as possible. And so keeping your money working for you and increasing and getting you bigger returns is going to be very, very important. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that your money is not sitting idle and getting bored. And just like I said, that person that, gets bored on the weekends, right, and spends all this money, your money is the same way. If it's just sitting there and it's not putting to use, it will soon get bored and it will soon leave you. And so you want to make sure that you don't let your money get bored, right? You want to have your war chest, and then you want to start figuring out other ways to deploy this money so that it can start making money for you. Number 10, you want to spend less than you earn. And I know this seems counterintuitive, but most people, I even know from being a financial advisor, so I would talk to doctors all the time. Doctors are making $300,000, $350,000, even $500,000, right? And at that time, I thought those were some big numbers. And it was crazy how many doctors I talked to that were just broke. And it was because they had this thing called lifestyle creep. And so now they were burnt out because they were working 10, 12 hours a day, but they also had so much to spend in taxes. Their lifestyle had creep. And so now they had to keep up with this status that they had created for themselves. And they started spending more money than they actually earned and started living off of credit. So this is one of the things that you need to make sure you focus on, which is living within your means and a little bit under your means, actually, in order to have financial stability, right? And financial stability is what the whole purpose of this video is. It's number 1, for you to learn how to have the right mindset around money. Number 2, understand that anybody at any given point can get rich and successful once you change the way you think about money, and then you start to learn how money works. And then number 3 is acquire the skills in order to have value so that you can create an asset that people can pay you for. And that's how you'll get rich. The fourth and the bonus from that is now you have to have the mindset and the mentality to have a stable life, to preserve the lifestyle that you have, to not increase it, so that you let your money increase, but your lifestyle stay the same a little bit, so that you can now have a war chest and then have your money making money for you. Okay. And so you want to make it a habit to save and invest the difference, because this is the behavior that is going to make your money make money for you ultimately. And this is how you can generate generational wealth, right? And so you want to always make sure that you're living below your means, right? Below your income, and then saving and investing the rest. Number 11, money is your army and you want it to bring you back other prisoners. And so you want to think of your money as a tool to generate wealth. So you always want to be trying to figure out, how can I take this money and make more money from it, right? And so you want to invest wisely in things that work for you and bring you back more value. And so, this is what Warren Buffett did, is he studied financials of companies, and he looked at things that were underpriced. And so you would be surprised how many people undervalue their worth. And so once he saw some indiscrepancies in that, he studied markets, and then he went and deployed his money. And that's how, when he bought Coca-Cola, right? All he did was look at the valuation of them and change it 1 cent, and it made him $1 billion. And so, when you educate yourself, you can be smart and learn to invest wisely after you have a war chest to spend. And that's going to come from the point before where you have to live a little bit below your means so that you can build a war chest. You can deploy that capital into a smart investment that can turn your money into more money. Number 12, the right partner can make you rich and the wrong partner can make you poor. And so you definitely want to make sure that on your road to success, that you think long term and you want to hope for the best but plan for the worst. And in doing this, you want to think that if you do get into a partnership with somebody, the most important thing that I would recommend is you have a game plan that if something changed, if this person got a divorce, if you guys had a falling out, this person decides he wants to go and do another business, right? Like, what would be your exit strategy? And you want to talk about those things ahead of time. It's kind of like getting a prenup, right? So before we got married, we sat down, we talked about things and we discussed it and we got a prenup. And so if in the best of times, we wanted to plan for the worst, and that way, if something were to happen, right, we didn't have to go through all of this crazy stuff and have a fallout and everything's good. And so I think people can be too optimistic sometimes and they don't look at the negative or the downside. And so for me, you always want to hope for the best and plan for the worst. And choosing a life partner to share your financial goals and your business and your success is very crucial in business and personal life. So you definitely want to make sure that you don't match up with somebody that has poor spending habits, has gambling debt, has shopping addiction, all these things. Because a lot of times what I've noticed is like couples realize like, oh, I don't have a spending problem, but this person has a spending problem. Well, y'all money is together. So if that person has that trait, then it affects you as well. And this can significantly affect your trajectory and the speed in which you can increase and have success. So beware just the wrong partner, because it can lead to financial ruin in business and in life, right? And so you want to look at more than just the surface to see what their past spending history is, and look at the things, look at their history. Can you show me your credit score? Can you show me your bank statements for the past 6 months? Can you show me what you would do with $1 million if it was here? Map it out for me. What would you do if I gave you all of our money, if I gave you the business 100%? How could you double it, or what would you do with it over the next 6 to 12 months? Number 13, money only solves money problems and nothing less, nothing more. And I heard this first from Alex Hormozi. He said, money only solves money problems. So if you get money, it'll only serve the financial things. And what I learned from getting rich is that it's true. Once you get out of survival mode and you get your basic needs met, and you get over this hump of like buying things that you never thought you could purchase before, that's just the beginning. Because now the biggest thing that in your life that you've been focused on, which is just survival, now that that's solved, you really got to start working on the other areas and other parts of your life. So money only solves money problems. I know other people will be like, well, money won't make you happy, but it can contribute to your happiness, right? Because it can give you access and the tools that you need to make sure that you can increase your quality of life, whether it's a mindset, trauma of things in your past, experience it, is learning how to communicate better, mindset. All of these things are things that can increase your life, and they have value outside of just money. And so again, money only solves money problems, nothing more, nothing less. And it can address the financial issues, but it will not solve the problems in your life. You can use it as a tool to help fix those things. It will not solve those problems in your life. And so you want to recognize the limitations of money and maintain a even expectation for money, that it can't solve the problems for your life, but it can give you a balanced perspective on things. So now that you can go out and work on yourself. And what happens is as you work on yourself and you start to increase your value and your income increases, you realize that there's always some other things in other areas that you can work on now that you're not focused on just surviving and paying the bills. Number 14, there are people with money and then there are wealthy people, right? So having money doesn't always equate to wealth, right? And wealth is something that is built through financial success. So just because you have money doesn't mean that you're wealthy. It's what you do with the money that you have. And again, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And then it's what you do with that. Okay, so you really want to understand that, because that's one of the most important things. One of the most important things. And you want to aim to cultivate a wealthy mindset that focuses on long-term growth and financial independence. And financial independence is the most important thing. So independent of whether you get up to go to work today, are you making money? Independent of if you have to sell something, are you making money? Independent of if the stock market goes up or down, are you still making money? And that's how true generational wealth is built, because you want to have a machine and an asset that continues to print money that is recession proof. And number 15, your results in life are always going to be in proportion. And so in proportion to what? In proportion to the amount of effort, time, and dedication that you put into a thing, that's what you're going to get out. So if you're a side hustler, right, and you got side hustler 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, well, there's only 100% of things you're gonna get. So out of those things, you're only gonna get 20% out of all of those things, right? That's the most that you can get out of each one of those, because you're split between two. Or you can focus proportionally on one thing, one business, and you can get 100% out of that and ultimately make 10 times as much you could from these side hustles, which is why I always tell people, instead of having 5 side hustles, get one main hustle first, right? And so what you want to do is you want to mainly strive for excellence in all aspects of your life, financially, relationally, and spiritually. And this will likely result and be in direct proportion to the input and focus that you put in those things. And so at the end of the day, you get in what you put in. You put garbage in, you're gonna put garbage out. You put in a lot of effort, you're probably gonna harvest. And so at the end of this video, I hope this was valuable for you guys. And remember, fall in love with the process and not the end destination, and you'll be a ton happier. These are my 15 rules to money. I'll see you in the next video.